spoilers. The hike. And if you're gonna read this book, don't watch this video. You know, just go through it, and then this video might be a lot more entertaining. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna briefly run through all the chapters, just say, you know, something about each one. If I, you know, have a lot to say about one of them, I might go, you know, a couple sentences on it. If it's small, I'll do only a couple, you know, a sentence or so. We'll see how this goes. There's 32 chapters. Like I said, I'll go quickly through the ones I don't really care about, and, you know, kind of tear apart some of the ones that I think are a little more entertaining. Alright, chapter 1. Alright, the path. Chapter 1. So, just setting up all, you know, main characters. He's at the hotel, looks for the path, goes behind the hotel, finds the path, starts hiking down. Alright, chapter 2, the gate. He just finds a house in the woods, you know, nothing too crazy, you know, he's hiking. After the gate, he finds his first, you know, big obstacle. The first, like, what the heck is going on? And he finds, you know, two murderers holding, you know, sharpened butcher knives and carrying a dead girl that has, you know, no feet, you know, cut off at the ankles. That's the first part of this book that just goes, oh, this might be a little gory, you know, and this is gonna be weird. They're wearing like dog face masks, you know. They look like they cut off an actual dog. It's bizarre, you know. He sees this, they see him, and they start chasing after him. He darts off into the woods. That's where we really get on the path. So now chapter 3 is the mountaintop. So now he's on the mountaintop. He's, you know, he stumbles upon, I'm pretty sure he stumbles upon the camp at this point. Oh, nope, that's chapter 4. So now he's on the mountaintop, realizes he's going to be out. This isn't going to be a day hike. He's hoping he can get home still, you know, like, this isn't supposed to be a big hike. It's supposed to be like, oh, quick, you know, trip into the woods and back. Chapter 4 is the fire. He's got this weird vision of him, you know, sleeping with an old college sweetheart, and it's weird. It doesn't explain why, you know, he's missing his wife a little bit. You know, it's kind of like, I'm like, oh, is this going to be a romance that's going to show up? The next day, this girl disappears, but there's still, like, remnants of, like, you know, her guitar is still out and stuff. And I think he even, like, wakes up in a different location than he went to sleep. And it's just, at this point, you go, okay, well, maybe, you know, I've missed some small details in the book, and the book is... But no, I think the book just skips over stuff. Like, he goes to sleep in one place, wakes up in another place, and, like, for some reason, you know, this girl shows up in his dreams. But this is the first note you get: stay on the path or you'll die. So, up till now, he's just been chased by murderers, ran up a mountain, found a camp, went to sleep, and, you know, that's about it. Courtshire. I'm pretty sure this is when he finds the old woman. Yep. So, he's in the garden, you know, finds this old woman. Finally, he's found some type of humanity to, like, get him home, hopefully. And this old woman says he has to weed his garden, her garden, before, you know, she helps. It takes him hours, you know, to weed this garden, and he whines about it, you know. And later in the book, that's funny. But yeah, he's just kind of griping, like, are you kidding me, I have to weed this, and, you know. And she tells him a quick story: never leave the path. Doesn't really know what the path is yet, you know. Alright. The Yellow Light, chapter 6. Okay. Let's see. I don't remember this one very much. I don't think, oh, he runs into... This is where he gets off the path. So, alright, the old lady gives him, like, three magic seeds. Another part of this book that's just like, what's going on? Like, that's just kind of weird. you know, they're like the get out of jail free cards. So he runs into the dog-faced murderers again, throws down one of the magic seeds, you know, a tower pops out, throws down another one, and the wolves eat the dog-faced murderers. But not really, because they show up later. So, you know, again, like, it's not really, it's not real life, but at the same time, up till now, it's been kind of close to real life. There's no, like, there's no fine line of, all right, he's on the path, he's not on the path. You know, in like regular life, and then all of a sudden there's a gray zone, and now he's on the path, he can never leave it. And, you know, so it's weird. Alright, chapter 7, the beach. So this is where he finds his friend the crab. Now, this is, I think, a hilarious exchange. He does fight like a giant cockroach or a giant grasshopper in like an abandoned house on the beach. That's pretty fun. That's a pretty fun fight. It's gory again, and you start thinking, man, do I really want to read through a gory book? And you know, I stuck with it. It was still fun. You know, he gets, you know, into the attic, chapter 8. This is where the grasshopper is. You know, fights the grasshopper, runs out of the attic, you know, after he kills this grasshopper, and like, you know, in like disarray, and then stumbles across this talking crab that, you know, this crab's just got nothing else to do, so I guess he, you know, befriends this human, and they've got a very entertaining relationship, you know, of they just give each other so much crap. And you know, the crab says he needs to go back up. For some reason, the crab knows what he's, you know, knows about the path, kind of. He always seems like he doesn't really let on what he knows. He doesn't give you the whole everything. Like, he's holding back info. Crab says he needs to go up and reach inside, you know, figures that he needs to reach inside this grasshopper he just killed through the guts, find this key, and then unlock this control panel to continue down the path. And, you know, crab dialogue, hilarious. Alright, so now hovercraft shows up. Hovercraft, out of the blue, like, random, you know, there's all these things that are just kind of random, and, like, you know, it's like, it doesn't really fit in, but at the same time, he's in a weird universe, so nothing needs to make sense because it's not real life. You know, like this hovercraft that, you know, shows up, he gets to run, and at the same time, like, the island he's on, or the beach he's on, starts to sink, and it starts taking down the hovercraft with him. I don't know how that works. I mean, maybe the anchor got caught on it, or maybe I just didn't catch that he, like, just didn't turn on the hovercraft yet, and it doesn't float if it's not on. The crab saves his life, which really caught me off guard, you know. I didn't expect the crab to be any help. I thought he was just going to be there, you know. He was going to be a short-term character, and he ends up being around for a little while. Alright, now he's on the ocean. The one cool thing is he always stumbles upon food. Like, food and rest, like staying alive, is a focus of this book, and I think it does that very well. You know, in other books, you'd be like, when are they eating? When are they drinking? You know, aren't they getting worn out? And I think this does, you know, in its weird way, they stumble upon food and water and resources all the time. But this is just like, he goes on to this hovercraft, and there's a buffet of food, you know, and he can rest, and he can take a shower, you know, and it's just like, it's not like a hardcore adventure, like something's controlling and pulling the strings. Chapter 12 is the pack. Oh, he runs into icebergs, and, you know, he's got to get away. This is when we start hearing a voice on the radio saying, like, hey, yeah, you know, you're stuck in icebergs, you're doing good, like, you know, like, you're not dead yet. hurry up so I can meet you. And it's this feminine voice, and the crab's giving him, a little bit of a hard time, saying like, oh, she might be cute, even though the main character's married and has kids, and he let's see. Then there's like a quick comment of like, hurry up, that way I can kill you, silly. What? I thought there's this flirtatious girl on the radio, but she's gonna kill him. But very like happy about it, like not very, like she's joking. She's always got this joking manner to him, and we later learn that this is the giant, the giant in the mountain. Alright, I lost storage on my phone, had to move and upload some videos and delete some stuff, and now we're set. So, we left off on the mountain. So, up till now, he just got out, just got off the hoverboat, made it to this mountain, scurries up it, and this is the first time, not even the first time, but this is the first time I really decided that this book is definitely a stupid movie, but still fun. Like, it's, at one point I think he said, like, the mountain's only, like, 200 feet tall, and then he goes into, like, a cave inside of it, and it opens up, and it's, like, 150 feet tall cave, or, it's just, like, the scale, like, just didn't make sense at all. Granted, he's not in the real world, so, now he splits with the crab. We're on chapter 14. I'm just gonna call the girl the giant. I don't want to butcher the name. So the girl giant, the one he hears on the radio, he finally comes around and meets her. Crab goes and hides. They pass a bunch of skeletons on the way in, and it's this really friendly female giant. And I think Ben even says, she's kind of attractive. And go, okay, where's this book going? Like, this may be weird. And, at this point, Ben the whole time is just frustrated with everything and anyone and anything on the path. And, and this giant just doesn't want to deal with him whining. And then he realizes, oh, this giant's a cannibal. She's gonna eat me. And she's really upfront about it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna eat you. But at this point, you're all beaten and bruised, and you're hurting and skinny, and we need you to rest up. That way, I'm gonna have you fight, someone else. Whoever wins, they live, and whoever dies, they get eaten. And she's so friendly about it, and she's got a great graph here. I'm gonna show you this. All right, and it's just two scales. So, the scale this way, scale this way. So, the, up and down is, the graph is your death. And I think this is hilarious. And the giant is, saying this. She says, your death, this is the graph. Painless at the very top, and painful at the very bottom. Alright? And then slow, and then quick. And then she puts a little point in the bottom left. That means slow and painful. And she says, you're right here. If you're really annoying and like, just don't, just a pain in my butt, I'll make your death slow and painful. But if you accept you're gonna die, play my games, kind of have fun with it, are friendly to talk to, I'll make your death painless and quick. It's just hilarious, And, like, he starts begging, please don't kill me, come on, like. She's like, I don't want to hear it. I hear it from everyone. I don't care. I'm going to eat you. Get over it. Get over yourself. So she throws him in chapter 15, the hole. Throws him in the hole. I just pictured it as some type of dungeon. Gets thrown in. And he's in there for weeks. I mean, he's in there for a long time. Starts going crazy. The crab finally finds him. He sends out the crab, give me something to, like, escape, help me escape. And the crab's like, fine, you know, whatever. I'll try to get you escape. Sorry, mosquitoes. You know, once the giant catches him trying to escape, she's like, oh, you're ready to fight. You're rested now. You're gonna taste good now because you're all healed up. She has him fight someone the next day, and you know, she's like, right before he goes to bed. I love this part of the book. I love this interaction between the giant and the Ben and the crab, you know. And she's like, "Well, do you want to fight? You know, five dwarfs or one guy?" And she's like, "I'm gonna scale you, you know, someone that's like equal strength, equal fighting ability, you know, that way you have a chance. And or do you want to fight five midgets?" And you know, he's got to sleep on it and decide in the morning. She's like, "No worry, don't worry about it, you know, there's no rush." Like, so nice about it. But it's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have you fight to your death." And you know, so now, let's see, where am I? Now he's just about to fight. He decides the guy, he fights the guy, and it is a it's a dog-faced guy, and there's no weapons, so he has to, you know, just he ends up killing the guy because you have to fight, you know, fight to the death, you know, to survive. He's got to kill this guy, so he kills this dog face, and you know, the giant's like, you know, great job. You're gonna fight the dwarfs next, and you're gonna fight him right now. And he's, you know, he's obviously gonna lose this. He just got out of this brutal fight. The crab then, you know, throws him some magic seeds, and the whole time he's in the giant's dungeon, you're like, how is he gonna get out of this? And this is another part of that story. I'll just throw some magic seeds on the ground. Now they'll, you know, clean up any loose ends. You know, he throws a magic seed on the ground, has a handgun, shoots it up in the ground, holds the giant hostage, says, you know, release all the prisoners, you know, and you know, the dwarfs, you know, stop the fight, release all the prisoners, you know. You know, he runs free. He doesn't even get to talk to anyone. Everyone just darts. He doesn't even interact with anyone. I thought he might grab another companion after this. Alright, chapter 17, the split. And this is the first, like, mind-blowing part to this. So the crab he's been with, that crab that saved his life multiple times up till now, you just got him out of that hole, you know, with the giant and the mountain. And the crab's got to split. The crab is on the path also. And this is the first point where you go, oh, or no, you know that, like, there's more people on the path once you meet the giant. But this is the first point of, like, oh, there's, like, actual people on the path, like, relatable people. Up till now, we haven't talked to anyone on the path, you know, that's going through it. You know, everyone else has been on it, but not really, you know, on it with him. And then we realize the crab's him. Alright, so another instant cutoff. I mean, you know, storage is killing me. But back to it. The split. So yeah, the crab, he's on the path also. And you know, at this point we realize the crab is him. He's on this path so long that at some point he turns into a crab, and after he goes through everything he just went through again, and then he gets to split off, and hopefully, you know, you hope that then he's off the path. He's getting towards the end at that point, but from what it sounds like, that crab's been on the path for a long time. You know, he's really given, you know, the crab a hard time. Like, how long have you been on this? Like, you know, a year, 2 years? And he gets up to like 10. He's like, is it more than 10 years? And the crab, I think, sadly just nods. And, you know, it's just, it's kind of a mind-blowing, like, oh my goodness, this guy's gonna really have to struggle through this. Like, this crab's kind of hardened, and like, he's been through a rough stuff, and you realize he's going to be going through all the same stuff because he's the crab, you know. And somehow this isn't a paradox, but that I don't even care about that. I think it's oh my goodness. All right, Roman numeral 2 for a point. So let's see. At one point, he turns into a giant here. Oh yeah, he's got to go back. So this chapter 18, Tony Watts, he's got to go back to the mountain to meet the giant again, and he turns into a giant. I don't think this is the part that I'm remembering. Yeah. So, alright, so he turns into a giant here. You know, I had a hard time, like, up till now it's been pretty easy to picture things, but once he's a giant and everything else is small, it's really hard to picture the scales. And then, you know, he makes it to this, I think he finds a book of the Curious Undead, chapter 19, the Curious Undead, and it talks about, you know, there's like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 6 different like zombies. I was like, okay, cool. I hope I don't need to know all the details to these. And thankfully, I only needed to turn back once to figure out one of them. And, you know, it wasn't that bad. But, you know, 6 zombies, and they're all kind of a different spin on zombies. I really enjoyed, let's see, the mouth demons I thought was a lot of fun. And the smokes are a whole lot of fun. You know, the mouth demons I think is really, when he's got to fight the mouth demon, which we're getting to pretty soon, you know, it's pretty, again, he gets out of it by the skin of his toes, but, you know. So yeah, he reads this book, goes back, meets with the giant, convinces her to eat hot dogs that he has, and, you know, after a tip from the crab, you know, hey, she's never eaten anything that's not human. You know, so he's like, okay, I'll give her hot dogs, and she freaking loves them. And you know, and she runs into him later of like, you know, give me some real meat, give me hot dogs. Let's see, castle. So now he gets into this castle. None of this really stuck out to me, you know. Once he turns back into a normal sized person, that's when I really got back into it. I mean, these chapters go really quick. They're only a couple pages long. I mean, you blow through them really quick. He's in the hotel now. So this hotel I thought was pretty cool. No one talks in the hotel. The whole of the hotel, no one talks. So he gets his key, you know, goes up, and this is when he runs into the mouth zombie. And let's see, his room, goes to his room, you know. Okay, I mean, this stuff I enjoyed it, you know. I'm just kind of skimming through just because it wasn't huge points to talk about. The job, chapter 23, the job. Let's see. Oh, this is after, I'm gonna butcher this word. Vorus has caught him from the hotel. He's kind of, I just pictured him as like Dracula that can fly. He's like a vampire, and he grabs him with his, you know, he's got like talons, flies him off into the desert, middle of nowhere, and he's got what's called the job. And this is, I can't picture going through this. This is, you don't know how long he's going to be there. There's a pickup truck just out of range. You know, he can see the path. The path, eventually, he grabs the pickup truck and he gets away. But he's got to be able to kill this vampire, you know, Dracula. He's got to, it's named Vorus. I'm just going to call him Dracula. he's got to kill this Dracula before he does anything. And then he's got the Smokies he doesn't know how to kill either. So the Smokies are constantly, they never sleep. They're just a puff of smoke anytime he does anything bad. They torture him, you know, make him feel like he's eating tar. I mean, it's really, but they put him to work. He's got to build a castle, build a fort in the middle of this desert for Dracula, and it's hard labor. And at first, you know, he's well fed, he's getting nice rest, and he's getting bulked up. I mean, he's a big guy, you know, at this point. And then all of a sudden, Dracula comes in with Cisco, and this was kind of a mind-blowing point to me. Was, you know, this guy is a Spanish conquistador, I think, and you know, he's exploring for Spain and trying to discover the new world. Stumbles upon the path, and he says, you know, I'm gonna show the world about this path and all of its magic. And you know, it's got 2 moons. He's like, I'm gonna show the world the 2 moons, and you know, and their dialogue is fun because, you know, the conquistador, was it Cisco, is just like, you know, he thinks he's crazy because he's talked about this crab he met, and you know, he took a hoverboat. He doesn't know what a hoverboat is. He sees the pickup truck. He doesn't know what a pickup truck is. And the Smokies put these 2 to work, and they work for a long time. I mean, years. And you know, at the same time, they're really secretly trying to make this poison to kill Dracula. And then, you know, hoping, Cisco, I think, has seeds, and he's like, the magic seeds don't work all the time, so he's gonna throw the seeds on the ground every couple days, hoping that something happens. But he's waiting, and you know, he's trying to work on this potion. It needs one more thing, and he just doesn't know what it is. And finally, it hits him. It's gold. He needs gold for his poison, and Cisco has a gold tooth. And at this point, he's been working on this for years. You know, they're barely making it. They're not getting enough water. They're not getting enough sleep. You know, they're really, every day is like a hard, you know, fight to stay alive. And at the same time, they're building this fortress for Dracula. I mean, you know, every time I wish they talked about it more, just to hear more of the scale. You know, but I started picturing it as something large, but at the same time incomplete, like a fortress with 2 walls kind of deal. And so, yes, gold. He needs the gold tooth from Cisco. Cisco, you know, is like, you're not taking my tooth, man. You know, not on a whim. And you know, they come to the agreement. If he pulls out Cisco's tooth, Cisco takes one of Ben's teeth. You know. And at this point, his teeth are like really, you know, in bad shape. And Cisco chooses one of his nice teeth, pulls out one of his it was just, you know, blood running down both of their faces, you know, a lot of pain, and it works. You know, they get the poison to work. They poison, or they use a magic seed. They get a vacuum cleaner. They suck up the Smokies. They go kill Dracula. Barely. They end up getting the giant to help them. But once they kill the Smokies, they take the pickup truck and, you know, go kill Dracula. Let's see. Now that they're beaten, they're worn down, beaten, barely got out of there. They show up at this villa, and the path splits into three places. And I go, oh crap! You know, what is it gonna do here? And one of them's, the path on the right, I picture, is the villa. One goes into the ocean, the other one goes to a Spanish ship. So Cisco gets to go to the Spanish ship. There's a potion to turn him into a crab, so he's going to become the crab here real soon. And then the villa, and he can stay at the villa, it seems like, as long as he wants. And you know, they're having a good time at the villa. Cisco really ready to go. I mean, I think he's the most well-rounded character. Like, it's just, he seems like the model guy, you know. It is like he's just so proud for his country and what his cause, and he's got other things that mess with him. And I like Cisco. That's probably the part that stands out in this book is the relationships between Ben the crab, which is himself, Cisco the giant. I think those relationships are great. Funny at the same time, quite realistic. All right, Roman numeral 3, third part of the book. I don't know. Maybe there's something that I missed that explained that. He turns into the crab. Now, I'm going to criticize the book here for a second. It was kind of fun. The transformations, I think, are written quite nicely. But then he's a crab, and it's just like this filler. I mean, he's got some events, like he sees like a destroyed world at some point, and like realizes it's New York, and it's like, okay, and then he's going blind as the crab, and you're just kind of waiting for him to meet himself, and it's just like filler of him crossing the ocean, which was tedious, but he just got out of something tedious. It's fine. It worked. It was filler, to my opinion. 29, 2 Bens, and I loved him dealing with himself, to the point where we didn't go through every situation, but like, new Ben annoys crab version of Ben. He was like, he's so soft, he's been through so little, he's so immature, and like, can't handle small things, and it's such a short, I didn't realize how short it was, but the 2 Bens I think is so fun. And you think like, okay, he's already heard what he's gonna say, and how is that gonna work out? And I think it plays it off well as like, new Ben annoys him so much, there's only one thing to say. And finally he splits down the path, Crab Ben, now we're Crab Ben, we've taken a turn, we split off from old Ben, and now we're wrapping up. We're getting to the epiphany of, we've gotten mentioned a couple times as like the director, who's the conductor, the director of this path. And now it hits, oh, I'm in control of the path, and like, don't mess with me, because while I'm on the path, I can't die. That realization, I can do anything I want on the path, because the path, if I'm on the path, I won't die. Once I leave the path, that's when I can die. I can struggle a lot on the path. So he starts really taking the reins at this point. He's like, screw everyone, I'm going to see the conductor. And we hit this nice part I enjoy. You get into these ultimatums almost of like, like the first one is you're gonna be on the train, and don't know how long you're gonna be on the train for. You could be on the train for a couple minutes, you could be on there for a million years. You could be on, and this train's taking you to the guy in charge. And he's just like, screw everyone. And he's like, everyone's like, you're gonna be on the train a really long time if you have this attitude. And he said, screw you guys all, I'm taking the reins, and like, I'm gonna drive the train. And ends up driving this train off a bridge and shoots up in the producer, sorry, so the conductor and the operator, he's the producer. And he shoots off into outer space, which I was like, okay, weird movie. Back to Sharknado. I mean, it's goofy, it's kind of fun. He shoots off into outer space and jumps off the train, and now he's in control, so he does crazy stuff. Meets the producer, and at this point I'm like, oh crap, like, something big's gonna happen. And it really didn't. I don't know if I just kind of blew through this, but it wasn't like, you got to hear kind of like what the path is and kind of more about it and who's on it. And now he's got 2 doors to choose from. The door on the right, he could stay on the path, but now he knows he has control of it. He can live forever, and he can shape the path to do whatever he wants. You know, he can have the perfect life if he wants, as long as he stays on the path. Or he could go on the door on the left and go back to his old life, but he can never speak of the word of the path. He can't write it down, like no communication about the path. Or like your heart will die. And I wondered for a little bit if that was just like an empty threat. You know, would you risk it? So he stabs himself in the head and then pulls out like a hardened, like beaten self. Because once he turns from the crab to like his self again, he's all healed. He didn't get his, you know, his tooth isn't pulled out. You know, he's like the version of Ben that just got on the path, but with like the old mind. You know, since he's been on this path for years. He pulls out an old, hardened looking Ben out of himself, and then they decide to go through both doors. Okay, you know, I kind of wish he would have had to choose one, and then went with the choice of, you know, real life. And like, it sounds like he was going to, but then realized he had control of everything, so he's just gonna do whatever he wants on the path. Yeah, that's weird. Let's see. We are 32. I think this is the last chapter. He's off the path, finally. Runs back to the hotel, says, screw it, I'm going home. Like, I don't care if I have a meeting, I'll say I'm sick. I'm checking out of this hotel. Books at home. And, you know, you get into the, like, after the conclusion, you've already gotten through the climax, you're just wrapping up the small details. You know, so happy to see his kids, so happy to see his wife, you know. He's kind of remembering these old, you know, these memories of being on the path and how much he's going through. And he knows he can't tell anyone, and he doesn't want to risk it. And then he, like, you know, finally we get to, I think, one of the coolest parts of the book, where he makes eye contact with his wife, and his wife kind of looks at him, like, looking in his eyes, he sees, like, this is an older man, like a matured man, he's gone through a lot. And then her face just kind of goes white with realization that, like, and then it kind of hits back of what she mentioned earlier of, you know, I've had to kill people, I can't tell you about it. And like, oh, she's been on the path too, she gets it, you know. And I think that was a great ending, because they both can't talk about it, but they understand the secret that they can't talk about. You know, it would have been rough if, like, he had to keep the secret, never talk about it, had no one to talk to about it, you know, that kind of feeling. And that was the last big mind blow of, like, oh wow, I didn't see that coming. That was the one that, like, one real good mind blow. I was like, I didn't see that coming. I thought it was fun. You know, the hike. Overall review, it's a page turner. It was fun. Stupid at times. The stupidness kind of made it entertaining, to the point of, you throw down a magic seed and you get out of jail free. Okay, that's kind of fun, you know. Like, it's so, some of his get out of situations are so funny, or so, like, ridiculous, they were funny. And I don't know if the writer was looking for that, but he hit it. He was in the ballpark of that. And Drew, I'm sorry if you see this and you're like, hey, what the heck? And for me criticizing that, but it was still enjoyable. It was a fun read. This is gonna be a long video. This is my first ever book review. We'll see how that, I like that, and, you know, went through a lot to get it to work. I gotta go return this book, so hopefully you read it and enjoyed it, and this was a fun recap of kind of blowing through the book in each chapter. If you didn't read it, feel bad about spoiling it and not reading it. And then maybe go read it for fun anyways, because it's a fun book. Other than that, I'm going to split out and go eat some ice cream. So, peace out. Have a good one.